Hey everyone, it's Mike Coates here. I wanted to talk today a little bit about photography and storytelling, a way to improve family photos. So, the purpose of this is really not to train you to be a professional photographer, but rather to just think like a photographer to improve the family photos that you take when you're out and about. And so, one of the ways that you can do that is to think through the lens of storytelling. So when you go on a trip with your family, I don't know about you, but my family doesn't want to sit down for an hour and a half and have a portrait session. I don't want to do that either. I don't even take professional equipment along with me anymore. I just use my phone. So everything I'm going to show you today is pictures that I've taken on my cell phone because I don't want to carry around a bag full of equipment. These are pictures that were taken quickly without interrupting family time. So this allowed us to get some good photos. They're not great, but they're good photos without spending the entire time doing a portrait session. So thinking about storytelling. So a good story needs a main character, but it also needs a setting. Where is this story happening? Where is this story taking place? So when you are telling the story of your family's adventure, you need to be thinking about what could I include in this photograph that is going to remind our family when we look back at the photos where we went, and it's also going to tell other people when I post it on social media, send it to my family and my friends, it's going to tell them where we went as well. Now, if I'm taking only portraits, that means something kind of close up. I'm not real worried about the background, but in this case, I really want to focus on that background. I want to think about what is important about the place that I'm going to with my family. What are the things that I can capture in the background to tell our story? This does not have to be something where you go scout out the location. You don't need to walk around for an hour and a half trying to find good spots. But just quickly, when you get to the location, just kind of scan with your eyes. What are the key features of this place that I could include in my background to let people know where we went? So this example here, my family and I went to Nick's pumpkin patch up in Hendersonville, had a wonderful time. The focus of this story is actually my daughter because the first time we went, she got sick. We had to leave. She didn't get to pick out her pumpkin. So today was her day. This was her opportunity to go pick out a pumpkin at the pumpkin patch. So when we first got there, the first thing that I did as we walked into the pumpkin patch area is I just quickly scanned. What are the key things that I see that would tell people, they might not know what Nick's is, but that tells people that we're at a pumpkin patch, we're at this place, we're having this family adventure. So one of the things I noticed was this big giant orange silo painted like a pumpkin. Perfect. Okay, so this is the first photo, and I'm actually going to put the photos up here so you guys can see them a little bit better. This is more for me so that I can see what I'm talking about here. So this picture here, I made sure to include the giant grain silo in the picture, and this tells people where we are at. We're at a pumpkin patch. It's most likely Halloween. We've got the big pumpkin face on there. And there's some action happening in the photo. My wife just happened to jump into the frame. That was not planned, but I got the picture. So I thought it came out pretty well. So let's go on this journey a little bit more together here. So I'm just going to scroll through. I'm not going to show you all these photos. There's just a couple of key ones I wanted to talk about. So here's another good example. And once again, these are not highly posed photos. I'm not sitting there for half an hour. I'm not putting lighting out. I'm only using my phone. I'm taking these quickly. But what I did is I thought about what's the background? What's going to tell people where we're at? Well, I made sure to include in the background the pumpkin patch, the grain silo, a part of the barn. This is giving clues to my viewer as to where we are and what we're doing. Now let's scroll forward a little bit here. It's hard to get my daughter to look at the camera here. But here's another one I want to talk about real quick. So this was my daughter in the act of choosing her pumpkin and actually cutting it from the vine. Now, I did not, once again, didn't do a long session here. It was literally, okay, I'm going to get down to the ground. I want to get the pumpkin in the foreground. I want to get her with the clippers cutting that pumpkin, looking at me, maybe get a little bit of the sky in the background. Just documenting and showing what is happening during our story, what's going on here. All right, so let me scroll a little bit forward. This is the next one that I took. Let me see if I've got one where she's looking. There we go. So she's cut her pumpkin out, and now I want people to know where we went to. And when we pulled up to Nick's, I noticed they had this big, nice sign here, big rock with Nick's on it. Then we've got some of the signs in the background. Again, we've got the grain silo, we've got the barn, we've got some pumpkins over here. So I made the cognizant decision to go ahead and I'm going to put her in the middle of the frame here. Typically we don't do that, and I'm going to talk more about framing next time. But in this particular instance, we had some good information here that's going to give to the viewer, telling them where we're at, and then some additional information over here that sets up really what that setting is, what's taking place. So we've got our pumpkin, we've got our Nick's sign, we've got our grain silo. There's no question about where we're at here. So if I were to show this photo to anybody, they know what we're doing. They know we're picking out pumpkins. It's not a close-up portrait that could be anywhere. This is a documentation, a storytelling of where we went. Okay, here's one more example here. I wanted to take a picture just to kind of show that she and I had walked around. We had picked out that pumpkin together, made sure to get the grain silo in the background. Thought it came out pretty well. Again, I'll talk about framing next time. So the focus for today is to think about storytelling. How can I tell my viewers, whether it's family, friends, social media, how can I tell them the story of our adventure without taking up a lot of time, okay, without bringing a lot of equipment with me? Okay, and the way that we do that is we think about the setting. Where is this story taking place? We identify some key features very quickly about that place, and we make sure that we include them in the background. Now you're going to notice that with most of these photos, I did not do a tight crop because that would eliminate the background, and at that point we could be anywhere. Now I might do that for a portrait session, but for this, I want people to know where we're at. Now some of these pictures are selfies, so the distance the camera is away from my face is determined by the length of my short arm. So I really couldn't get that far away, so I've really got to think about subject placement and then background placement as well. But you'll notice that they're not real tight pictures. Okay? I'm shooting a little bit loose because I want people to see where we're at. I want them to see that background. So that's our lesson for today. Focus on storytelling. Focus on the background. What are the key elements that you can include to let everybody know where your family's adventure took place? Hope this helps. Thanks so much, and make it a great day, Greenville.